There you
Good
go.
evening. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Hopefully, barring any weird disconnections, we will hopefully finish Stormblood tonight. So, let's do that. Alright, we are live. Are you trying to give things to me, KJ?
Yeah. I
Ah,
thought you thought that one was cute.
thank you. Well, it's just, you said something to Emo, so I was making sure you weren't meaning to give that to Emo.
I already gave her one. No, she was not responding after you had said, "Are we ready?"
Ah.
Oh, went and washed my hands. It's fine.
Greetings, Scions. The commander told me to expect you. Shall I show you in?
I'm sorry to drag you halfway across the realm, but when Maxima mentioned Alphino, I thought you'd want to hear the news in person.
Ah, we meet again. Though I was hoping our reunion would be under more auspicious circumstances.
What happened to my brother? Where is Alphino?
Never fear, my lady. Your brother was in fine health when I took my leave of him, and I have no reason to assume that has changed.
You assume?
If you will allow me, I shall endeavor to explain events. Our troubles began not long after we departed Doma. While crossing the burn, we were fired upon by the Emperor's personal guard and forced to make an emergency landing. As we stumbled from the wreckage, our attackers fell upon us again, and we would have perished there and then were it not for the intercession of a third party, a band of mercenaries whose leader claimed to pursue a vendetta against the Ascians. This Shadow Hunter, as he styled himself, then escorted us out of the wastes to relative safety. Upon arriving back in civilization, I gathered my Populares colleagues and prepared to flee the Empire. Master Alphino, however, declined the invitation to join us, preferring to continue his investigation into the Ascian threat.
Well, at least he's not lying in a heap in the burn. Tell us more about these Ascian hunters. Who are they? And is Alphino still with them?
He is. As to who they are, I'm afraid I have nothing to tell you. Beyond the fact that they root out and destroy Ascians, they were unwilling to divulge anything which might serve to identify them. They would not even reveal their next destination. But Master Alphino asked to accompany them all the same. Since parting company with your brother, we've been engaged in a game of cat and mouse with the Emperor's guard. We made our way through province after province, finding the army busy restoring order wherever we went, until we finally arrived here in Alamigo. I cannot thank Commander Aldin enough for giving us such an unexpectedly warm welcome.
I'm not inclined to turn away refugees, no matter which land they call home. And if they can tell me how things lie in Garlemald, all the better.
On that subject, there is much I would tell you. During the course of our journey, we heard tales that an entire rebel army had been slaughtered in the space of a single night. It would seem my former comrades grew tired of putting down uprisings in the conventional manner, and chose instead to bring a formidable new weapon to bear. Details were sparse, but the rumor alone was enough to dampen the flames of rebellion. I have also heard reports that several companies have withdrawn from their designated provinces and begun marching westward. It is my assessment that the Empire's forces are mobilizing for a large-scale military engagement.
Westward? You mean they're getting ready to invade Alamigo?
We knew this was coming, but not that it would be so soon.
We've barely even begun to shore up our defenses. They won't stop an invading army.
No, they won't. Dispatch messengers to the Alliance leadership requesting reinforcements, and send word to our officers in the field to hasten completion of those border fortifications. Prepare to meet the Imperials head on! No matter how quickly we act, we still want for time. When the enemy comes into view, our best recourse will be to open negotiations with their commander, and see that the ensuing proceedings take as long as possible.
Would you and Alize head to Doma and let Lord Hien know about this? I'm sure he'll want to hear about Alphino too.
Consider it done. We'll send word when...
Untold sorrow must be changed. Ahead looms a calamity. Eon become instant. Throw wide the gates.
You heard it too. Well, at least we're both still standing.
Oh, thank the gods. I thought we'd lost you for a moment there. Why does this keep happening?
I wish I knew. Nothing we've tried has brought us any closer to an answer. We'll keep working on it. But first, we need to go and see Lord Hien.
So Alpha Node is safe. For the present, at least. Now all we need to worry about is a full-scale Imperial invasion. I'm actually glad Lise tasked us with visiting Lord Hien. Better to be dashing from place to place than sitting around stewing over things we can't change. To the Enclave. You heard the lady, KJ.
I don't know why it doesn't show up on my damn map here.
Ah, I see what you mean.
It goes to Nami's, the closest place, every time. In which time I have to actually waste time scrolling down also. Second to the last.
Greetings, my friends. I was just discussing future endeavors with the members of our newly formed alliance. The Kojin and the Confederacy you already know, and it was your own strength of arms that won us cooperation of the steppe tribes. We've also been joined by our neighbors of Nadsha and the indomitable citizens of Dalmasca, though the scattered nature of the latter's resistance will somewhat delay their official induction. These proud peoples have united under a single purpose, to stand against the tyranny of the Garlean Empire. I'm glad to see your alliance is coming together so swiftly. As things stand, I fear we shall soon have need of your strength. I thank you for bringing me news of Alphanode. His fate is never far from my thoughts, and not only because he is our emissary, but for the sudden deployment of Imperial forces. I agree that Alamigo would be wise to shore up its borders with all haste. Every report we receive from our shinobi indicates a massing of troops in the western provinces. It seems all but certain that the Empire is poised to bring its fist down upon Eorzea. And I would help deflect that blow, but I cannot risk sending reinforcements just yet. We will remain vulnerable to airborne assault until our wall in the burn is in place. The all-important Alligan energy barrier. The energy barrier, yes. I thought to call it something more auspicious, a name drawn from the four lords of legend, perhaps Ciru's Aegis, or some such. Well, just a thought. The Ironworks engineers report that they have finished calibrating the generators and are ready to proceed to testing stage. Have you time to attend the first test? You've seen the field which protect Azishla firsthand, and I would be interested to hear how you think ours compares. I will come too, if you don't mind. Though I'm no Ishtola, I may be able to offer some insight. Of course. Time being of the essence, it would be best if we made directly for the burn. Yugiri, I leave you and Hakaro to bring the War Council to a close. Understood. Your mounts are saddled and ready, my lord. Wear the storms. We will cross the burn by Yawl and Falcon, as before. Join me at the overlook near the House of the Fierce. But yeah, the first of the binding coils was just 2 fairly easy boss fights with some trash in between them. The second phase was 6 or 7 mini bosses and a boss, but you could skip most of the mini bosses. They just made the boss stronger. But I didn't have much trouble with him at near full strength. The third phase was mostly just trash and going from platform to platform. There were no bosses. The fourth phase was an elevator ride where you were getting attacked by trash the whole way, and no boss. And then the fifth level was a boss with a lot of instant kill attacks that killed me about 10 times.
Oh, dang. Oh.
Basically, the boss had a ability where they would fly around in a circle and then swoop across the arena. And if they hit you and knocked you to the border of the arena, you died. So, not being sure where the boss was about to pounce on you from, if you weren't in the right spot, you instantly died.
It seems the engineers have matters well in hand. Should the barrier work as we intend, Doma will be free to reinforce her allies in Alamigo without fear of weakening her own borders. Honored friends, the time has come to put your hard work to the test. Start the generator.
Node 1 is operational. Nodes 2 to 8 are reporting similar energy levels. The barrier is forming. $1,000 yards, 2,000, 3,000. Expansion remains smooth. No fluctuations detected. 4,000, 5,000. Target altitude reached. The barrier is holding steady at 5,000 yards. We've done it.
Is that an Imperial airship? Of all the rotten timing.
But this is a gift, Mistress Alize. They can test our new wall for us. Seems solid enough, though I was hoping for a fireball.
By the gods, it's Alphino. What are you? Let me go! He has my brother!
Lower the barrier!
Be at ease, girl. The lad is not dead, merely locked in slumber.
No, not him too.
We could identify no cause and found no remedy. Thus I sought to return him to Doma, and into the arms of Lord Hien himself, it would seem. It is a day for fated reunions. Would you not agree, adventurer? Or should I address you as the Warrior of Light? Aye, Gaius van Baelsar, the Black Wolf. That was the title I was given, one I have long since relinquished. Stand down. The legatus of the 14th Imperial Legion died in Castrum Meridianum. I am no more than Gaius Baelsar, a man without rank or allegiance.
Impossible! There's no way you could have survived!
Do you remember how it unfolded? How I was deceived by La Habrea? How I was convinced that reviving the Ultima weapon would allow me to bring peace to Eorzea? The Ascian used me, as he used so many others, all to further the restoration of his wretched god. Yet even with the might of Alec at my command, you bested me. And as the Praetorium went up in flames, I was content to burn along with it. For a moment at least. A moment of folly. To surrender my life thus would have been to betray all who died for my cause. It was for them that I dragged myself free of the rubble, and swore vengeance on the Ascians. The Black Wolf has shed his pelt, never to return to Garlemald or her legions. I live now only to exact revenge. My principal quarry was to be La Habrea, whom I gather you have since ushered onto oblivion. But so many more remain. Long as their kind lurked in the shadows, laboring to sow chaos throughout our world, I would see each and every one dragged into the light and put to the sword. Are the Scions not of like mind?
In this single respect, perhaps.
Then I shall continue the partnership the boy began, and share what intelligence I have acquired. Among the Ascians, the Black-Masked Ilk are subordinate to those who wear red. This you already know. Yet among the Red there exists a hierarchy. Those set adrift with the shards clearly stand below those still joined to the Source. Nabriales, who once dared to intrude upon the Rising Stones, belonged to the former group, and while he was indeed a dangerous foe, his powers were inconsequential next to the paragons of the Source. The first was La Habrea, who plagues us no more. There is also the white-robed Elidibus, and the elusive Emmet Selk, about whom little is known.
We have files on La Habrea and Elidibus, but I believe this Emmet Selk is new to us? As I assume my brother told you, we have evidence to suggest that an Ascian now walks in the body of the Crown Prince. Have you identified this interloper?
Elidibus seems the most likely culprit. As emissary, it is his role to maintain the equilibrium between darkness and light. Your many deeds in Hydaelyn's name have upset the balance, and I believe he seeks to restore it by throwing his considerable power behind the Empire. As a leader of the Ascians, he is one of our primary targets. It was on the trail of this very prey that the boy and I came across the scene of a failed uprising. In the absence of a single Garlean casualty, we inspected the bodies of the rebels, and the lack of any external injury drew my immediate attention. They had been slain by Black Rose, an alchemical invention of the Imperial Army. When I yet served as legatus, I ordered its production halted, and all stockpiles destroyed. Toxic gas is not a tool of conquest, but of extermination.
Toxic gas? This must be the new weapon Maxima warned us about. Something deadly enough to sweep away all resistance in a matter of hours. Gods. You don't think they're planning to use this in Alamigo, do you?
Put your fears to rest. We infiltrated the production facility and destroyed all existing stores of the chemical along with the plant itself. Even should they rebuild the operation, they will not soon manufacture another batch. Regardless, I would draw your attention to a directive we discovered in the plant's records. The document was marked with a recent date and authorized with the signature of one Zeno Galvas.
A dead man signing the death warrant for thousands. 'Tis bad comedy.
But the tale does not end there. Within that same facility was a chamber filled with devices of elegant design. Cloning technology, we realized. And what should we find in each and every incubator? But a young Emperor Solus. All of which prompts the question, were the Ascians responsible for these abominations, or was it the will of the Emperor? I must know which hand guides the Empire. Though I have given up my rank, I am yet a son of Garlemald, and I will fight for the future of my homeland. It is time I return to the hunting of shadows. We should focus on our common foe. To reopen old quarrels now would serve no purpose.
You saved my brother's life, so I'm willing to let sleeping dogs lie. But in truth, it's not my decision to make.
There was a time when I scorned those who placed their faith in false gods, even as I, in my blinkered conviction, place mine in Ascian promises. Unlike yours, my strength of will and my restraint was found wanting. We shall meet again, warrior of light.
So that was the infamous Black Wolf. An unexpected ally, to say the least. Well, I am content to leave the fine-tuning of the barrier to cleverer minds. Let us bid our friends from the Ironworks farewell, and see what can be done for Alphino back in Dorma.
Alphinaud is safely ensconced in a private chamber. My finest healer is examining him as we speak. I've spoken with the physician, and there are no outward signs of illness. Alphinaud is in a sleep from which he cannot be awoken, just like the others. It seems that even the lands of the Empire were not far enough away to escape that cursed voice. I share your frustration, Alize. I do. But Alphinaud has returned to us alive and otherwise unharmed. All that remains is to find the means to wake him. Until then, you can but fulfill your duties as a scion, yours and your brother's both. You're right, of course. There are arrangements to be made, and little time to make them. To business then, my lord. Now that you know Seiru's wall works as intended, can we expect reinforcements for Alamigo? You most certainly can. As promised, we will send troops to bolster our allies in Eorzea without delay. Pray be aware, however, that they will not arrive without delay. Save for some who boast teleportation magics, the bulk of our forces must be transported by sea. A lengthy voyage for which the smaller vessels favored by the Confederacy are ill-equipped. Accordingly, I mean to enlist the assistance of the East Alanard Trading Company. in finding suitable ships. As for navigating the distances in question, we are in the happy position of being able to call upon those who plotted the course of my people's exodus to Eorzea. Beyond the procurement of ships, I think it unlikely that our East
Stop throwing those masks on the ground.
I think it unlikely that our East Alanard friends will consent to any involvement in military operations, but I am certain they will afford Alphinaud a berth aboard one of their vessels. I shall have a surgeon accompany him every ilm on the way to the Rising Stones. You have my thanks, Lord Hien. Ugiri. I will go on ahead and with our friends to Alamigo, and list all those capable of teleportation and put them at the disposal of the Eorzean Alliance as soon as possible. They will form the vanguard. Yes, my lord. This is exactly what we'd hoped for. Lys and the Alliance leaders would be glad indeed to welcome the combined strength of the East. Meanwhile, at the Black Rose chemical plant,
Our supplies of Black Rose have been ruined, but the new plant is already under construction. We should have the first batch ready in time for the offensive, Your Radiance.
See that you do.
Ah, yes, the infamous Black Rose. If I recall correctly, Gaius did not much care for the invention. A ruthless and indiscriminate weapon indeed, this airborne poison. It seems you are capable of making decisions worthy of your bloodline.
With no gift for sorcery, we Garleans must look to Magitech to even the odds. If it spares the needless deaths of our soldiers and serves the cause of this empire, there is no method I would not employ.
How very noble of you. Truly, though, I must commend you for embracing your role as Emperor. You play the part of the determined ruler well. Sometimes even I catch myself believing. A silent agent of death. Now that I think on it, Black Rose may well possess the perfect aspect. Slowly but surely, the deluge of light has worked upon the ether here in the source, and the gas should be most susceptible to its influence. Well, I shall leave you to your own devices. Go forth and bloody the land with your grand and glorious war.
While you do what, precisely?
Need you ask? I will be doing what all Ascians do.
I am well aware that your kind exists only to usher in the next calamity. But you seem oblivious to the harm your singular agenda causes to the Empire. You cannot have forgotten the events which followed your mortal demise. Our homeland was plunged into civil war for your failure to name a successor. The edifice you so carefully constructed was but a hair's breadth from collapse.
Are you truly so naive? You thought me oblivious to the consequences of a departure so painstakingly timed?
It was by design?
Well, of course it was. Though I will admit the resulting panic exceeded even my wildest expectations. But how can you be surprised? Throwing the world into disarray was the very purpose for which this nation was, as you say, so carefully constructed. Now, if you have no further questions, I must be on my way. Since we may not meet again in this lifetime, it would be remiss of me not to offer a word or two of gratitude. I really must thank you for this surplus of vessels. I can mold any host into my own image, but having bodies tailor-made for me in this fashion is so much less tiresome. You dabbled in Allagan cloning techniques, yes? It certainly is a compelling, not to mention entertaining, field of research. And of all the options available, you chose the Founding Father on whom to experiment. You have a twisted streak to you, Varus, like grandsire, like grandson, hey? If events play out as planned, this will become something of a family enterprise. You will be the capstone of this world, I the anchor and shard, and together we will give the lie to this star's fraudulent existence.
We must leave now to convene with Eorzea's leaders, and it may be some time before I return to Doma. Makarov, I leave you in command. My lord. I shall assemble an advanced party with all haste, and join you in Alamigo forthwith. I've just received word from Lys. The Alliance has established a base camp near Alamigo's northeastern border. Once we've arrived in the locks, we're to report to a resistance officer stationed at Portia Pretoria, who will point us in the right direction. Let's not keep them waiting. Well, I was not expecting a lot of that.
Right.
I feel like they actually tried to tell us that the Shadow Hunter was Gaius previously, but it's been so long since we've seen his mask that it meant nothing. Because when Alphanode first met him, he was looking at the masks hanging on his belt. And like, why do we care about the masks? I do remember seeing that mask hanging there now.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I think it's the first time I've had two of you spawn on top of me.
Yeah.
Teleport to the same place.
Actually, it looks like all four of us were at the same spot, almost.
It's the closest we've been. All four of us have gone through the area.
Oh, I went flying off in the wrong direction. The person for me is right here. Oh, and also, let us name 3 Asians. We name La Habrea, who we have already killed. Let us name Elidibus, who we will certainly kill at some point. And let's name a Asian we have never heard of before. Which one do you think is going to be the important one in the next expat?
The one we never heard of before.
Right. Now, I do wonder if this Emezek is actually Solus, or whether Solus is another Asian.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, you must be the Scion party I was told to look out for. If you'll follow me, I'll take you directly to Alliance headquarters.
Welcome back, you two. Greetings, Lord Hien. Glad you could join us.
Glad to be here. I would have come sooner, where our own defense is not in question, but I am pleased to report that our soldiers are assembling for deployment to Alamigo as we speak.
We're grateful for your support. Thanks to the efforts of our allies, it won't be long before we've established defensive positions on this front as well.
We have some good news too. Alphino has come back to us. As for the
So, Alphino won't wake up, Gaius van Baelsar is alive and hunting Asians, and the Empire is planning to poison us all with toxic gas. Does that sound about right? Ordinarily, any one of those things would have left me in shock. But the way things have been lately, it's all starting to seem pretty normal. Getting back to your report, are we sure this Black Rose is the weapon Maxima was talking about?
It fits the description. And it seems we have Alphino to thank for sparing us an early demonstration of its effectiveness. I have a feeling this won't be the last time his bravery in the Empire will serve us here in Eorzea. The threat of an unknown weapon has had us all on edge. But now that we know what we're dealing with, we can take steps to defend against it. As for Gaius, I'm not sure what to think. Am I happy he's alive? Not in the slightest. Am I happy he's hunting Asians? Aye, I'd have to say I am.
Oh, speaking of Garleans you didn't expect to see, we have a tale of our own, as it happens. When we sent envoys to the Imperial Army to request talks, they returned with the message that Varys Zos Galvus would be attending.
The Emperor himself. Well, Varys did sanction the Popularis peace mission. But knowing that an Asian walks in his son's skin, I do not see how we can trust him or anyone from that nest of vipers.
The Alliance would proceed with negotiations regardless, if only to give ourselves more time to prepare. We do, however, require your cooperation.
Right. Yes. So, as a condition for the talks to go forward, the Empire has requested that a member of the Scions be present. There'll be a representative from each Alliance nation, of course, but I'm afraid we have to ask that you come along too.
Gods, Lise. You know how much I hate politics. But then, what choice do I have? Alphino and the others aren't going to do it. Very well. I shall attend as the Scion's representative.
In case you're wondering why I didn't ask you, the Empire also requested the presence of Eorzea's champion. Oh, you're not, are you? Come on, if Alizé can put on a brave face, then so can you. Now, we don't know what Varys means to bring to the table, or why he wants you there, but having you close at hand should make all the difference.
The meeting will take place on the border. Anticipating an early assault, we mean to position the bulk of our forces nearby.
The Alliance leaders should already be on their way. Once you're ready, we can head out and join them.
I assume we're instanced in here.
I think so.
Well, I don't suppose it's polite to keep an emperor waiting too long, shall we?
Esteemed representatives of the Eorzean Alliance, on behalf of the Garlean Empire, I thank you for inviting me here today. As this parley was convened at your request, I invite you to speak first.
Very well, Your Radiance. I, Nanimo Ulnamo, 17th in the line of Ul, should be pleased to oblige you. As recent events in Alamigo and Doma have made plain, the subjugation and exploitation of neighboring nations is not a sustainable policy. Should this day end in war, you may very well defeat us, but you will never extinguish the people's desire for freedom. Though it may not be in our lifetime, there will be another revolution, another war, and the cycle will continue. Doma has entered into a concord with the nations of Eorzea, a partnership wherein we recognize one another as equals. Garlemald could be afforded similar treatment. You need only set aside your ambitions and join us in paving a path towards peace.
You will not win me over with sophistry, Your Grace. As you know only too well, this alliance lacks the strength to keep the peace within its own borders. Even now, your struggles with the Beastmen continue unabated. Divided, you sow this fertile soil with the seeds of your differences and reap naught but discord and chaos for your trouble. Eorzea must be united under one leader, one purpose. I would offer you both and bring an end to your strife.
With all due respect, Your Radiance, the only thing that you offered the people of Alamigo was fear and hopelessness.
The citizens of Dorma can also attest to the meager arms of Imperial rule. There is no purpose to be found in a life of oppression, each day more uncertain than the last.
Our people are willing to die for their freedom. A great many already have, and countless more will, if we don't put an end to this madness here and now.
We brought order and stability to your lives. This madness and bloodshed is of your own making. You broke the peace, not Garlemald.
Peace. Order. You kill our peoples, despoil our lands, take everything that is ours. And what? You expect us to lick the boot that grinds our faces into the dirt?
I expect you to weigh the costs. To recognize that countless lives have been lost on both sides in pursuit of a greater good, and to not squander all we have achieved in a fit of petulance.
Your Radiance, I fear I can personally attest to the dangers of pursuing one's vision with such righteous fervor. For 1,000 years, the Holy See of Ishgard waged war with dragons. 1,000 years of sacrifice, of sorrow and hate, in which we bathed in the blood of friend and foe alike. Had it gone on any longer, we may well have drowned. Yet we have chosen to raise ourselves out of this bloody spiral, and have since made peace with our former enemy.
So I understand. No doubt the dragons were more receptive to your overtures in the wake of their leader's demise. You speak of peace, yet use war to achieve it. Your father would not have bothered to obscure his intent with honeyed words. He understood that strength is all that matters in the end. Without his clarity of vision, I can but wonder what will become of Ishgard and her people. There was a time when Garlemald, too, lacked a leader of conviction. Weak and unable to wield magic, we were at the mercy of the strong, from whom we sought refuge in the bitter cold of the north. Were it not for the discovery of ceruleum and the subsequent development of magitech, we might never have gained the power to take back that which was rightfully ours.
You speak as if your people were the first to have been driven from their homes. Limsa Lominsa was built by wayward souls in search of a place to call their own. On the shores of Vilbrand we found it, and from those humble beginnings did we grow and flourish. And all without robbing our neighbors of their liberty.
So saith the pirate. Am I to believe that you simply asked the kobolds to yield up their lands and that they were happy to oblige you? That you did not drive them out like rats in the hold of one of the many ships seized by your privateers? I will concede that after centuries of exile, reclamation may be mistaken for invasion. Nevertheless, it is not. And those who till stolen soil have no right to object when cast out in turn.
Your uncompromising nature rivals that of the Ixal. They too lament circumstances which they themselves perpetuate. Were they but to embrace peace, we would welcome them with open arms. Indeed, some few have done just that, and now receive of the Twelve's Wood's bounty. Would that your people might learn from their example.
You dare compare us to the Birdmen? You who thought to invoke the 12 and threaten all of creation?
I came here in the hope of finding some speck of common ground, but I see now these discussions will accomplish nothing. Despite what you people may believe, I am not wont to choose the sword over the olive branch. 'Tis but a pity men are loath to accept one without first being shown the other.
Wait! I beg you. This meeting was supposed to be a chance to find a way forward together, not to bemoan the missteps which brought us here. Please. If you truly consider violence a last resort, there must be a way we can come to an agreement.
As Mistress Alisaie says, we did not come here to bicker over the past, but to discuss how we might strive towards a brighter future. Emperor Varys, may I suggest a short recess, that all present might compose themselves prior to beginning anew?
Very well. I pray this intermission will suffice to move these talks in a more constructive direction.
For a moment, I feared our talks would descend into violence there and then. Alisaie speaks for her dislike of politics, but her honest plea may very well have prevented an early battle. Whatever rebuttal I had in mind was lost when Varys mentioned my father. The man is certainly skilled at keeping his opponents off balance. I do wonder at Emperor Varys' decision to attend these negotiations. It is plain he has no intention of hearkening to our entreaties, but what then is his goal? It is true that Lemens's beginnings were not wholly honorable, but our old wrongs do not make the Empire's deeds right. Varys holds fast to his ideals, just as I knew he would. He will not be swayed from this path. I do get the feeling the Emperor is hiding something. For years, we warred with the Empire, with no end in sight. A parley such as this represents a unique opportunity, and I would not squander it with bitter words. This is really not my forte. As his Radiance had... After his Radiance's little performance, it was all I could do not to swear at him. I honestly don't know how I ended up playing the mediator. I just asked myself what Alphinaud would have done, tried my best to do the same, and by some miracle it worked. But there really is no common ground to be found with that man. Nor do I think he looked for any. So the question becomes, what did he come here to do? Because you can be certain it wasn't to make peace. Whatever it is, I can't make it out. Not yet, at least. We do have a little time before the parley is due to reconvene, though, so why not try consulting our illustrious leaders? Mayhap they have some insight to share. I will say one thing for this Varus. He is well versed in Eorzea's history. His interest in our affairs is that of a beast in its prey. The conqueror would know his enemies. All should know their enemies. Yet there is much and more we do not know of the Empire. You would have me ask the Emperor himself. Well, mayhap there is some wisdom in that. If we could skirt the storm of his displeasure, we may yet come to our answers, even if it does mean sailing close to the wind. 12 have mercy, but for Lady Alisaie's timely interjection, we might have come to blows at the negotiating table. Not that the Emperor left us a great many options. Is unconditional surrender all he will accept, do you think? Ere he arrived, I'd have said yes. But having heard him speak, I cannot help but think he came here with some other end in mind. Exactly. He's building up to something. I know it. How then should we approach the rest of the parley? Have you anything to say, Warrior of Light? You believe he is more apt to reveal the truth if we put him at his ease. Mayhap you're right. Thank you. This parley was never like to bring peace, but I had hoped to learn something of Emperor Varys' relationship with the Ascians. As had we all. Yet if he is in league with them, he is not like to volunteer that fact. And if he is not, how much weaker would his position seem for their presence? If we are to broach that particular subject, we will need to be subtle. Would that I knew more of the man. If you would indulge me, Lord Hien, you received an imperial education, did you not? Is it true that the Emperor's will is considered absolute? There is no higher authority in all of Garlemald, nor else in the heavens come to that. Veneration of the gods is forbidden, the only worship permitted being that of his Radiance's own person. I share your disdain for their hypocrisy, even as they denigrate the idea of faith. They revere their leader where they further others reserved for the divine. 'Tis a flaw common to much of the doctrine they fed us. Logical on the surface, perhaps, but contradictory upon closer examination. I wonder if a discussion of the various discrepancies might prompt Varys to reveal something. You've spoken with everyone, then? Good. Now all that remains is to await the pleasure of the Emperor, and hope we fare better at the second attempt.
Now then, who would have the floor?
Before we resume, I wish to offer you an apology. After you graciously accepted our invitation to discuss an armistice, we have done naught but rebuke you at every opportunity. I believe I speak for all of us when I say we are deeply sorry for our discourtesy.
I'll admit your familiarity with our affairs surprised me, and served to remind me how little I know of yours.
I think all here can understand the desire to reclaim one's homeland. But why expand further? That is my question.
If I may, the answer can be found in the Imperial doctrine they took great pains to impart to my people. Recognizing the threat icons posed to the world, Solus Zos Galvus decreed that they were to be eradicated. To this end, he began a campaign to unite all lands under the Garlean banner. Or so we were taught. Yet the Emperor only reached the burn, the Baron said to have been laid waste by icons, after conquering all the lands that lay between. What is more, I am quite certain the practice of summoning was not nearly so widespread in the days before the Empire's founding.
When you put it like that, it all starts to sound like an excuse, doesn't it? But to distract from what? Why are you really waging this war?
Finally, you ask the right question. I can but hope you heed mine answer and at last accept the righteousness of our cause. My goal is this: to return the world to the way it once was, the way it was always meant to be. In doing so, mankind will be made whole once more. No longer will we suffer from the dissension born of our differences. There will be but one race, a perfect race, as we were when time began.
What in Rulga's name are you talking about?
I am talking about the origins of this star, of the source and its 13 reflections. At the instant of the great sundering, 'twas not only the world that was shattered, but mankind itself. Thus were we divided into myriad races, each with its own unique imperfections. That is why man looks upon his neighbor and feels fear and hatred, why he wages war, why he kills his brother. You all in your own way have proven as much today. The peace you seek is but a fleeting solution to a fundamental problem. One which calls for more drastic measures. To bring about everlasting peace, our worlds must be rejoined. That is the goal the Empire would see realized. The glorious future unto which we shall one day shepherd mankind.
A rejoining of worlds?
I have heard this tale of the Source and its reflections before.
Are these not the self-same desires as the Ascians?
Emperor Varys, do not trust in their words. They will lead you to your doom. My father thought to use them, but in the end he succumbed to their temptations. He embraced summoning like so many other pawns before him. Do not tell us you mean to do the same.
To be a pawn, free from the burden of choice, would be a blessing. But I forswore that privilege the day I learned that the Gallian Empire was built by the hand of an Ascian.
What?
Yes. My grandsire, the former Emperor, is of their number. And who better to build an empire capable of bringing about the calamitous change we desire? Would you condemn me for this alliance? For bowing to the will of these shadowy masters, when the prize is true and lasting peace? I come not to conquer, but to liberate. To free man from the prison of divergence. Imagine a world united. One perfect race beneath a single standard. An army before whose might these servants of darkness and light would fly as leaves in a storm, never again to meddle in man's affairs. We would be the masters of our own fate.
I bid you join me, not as subjects of Garlemald, but of a new nation. And together we shall win freedom for ourselves and generations yet unborn.
You want to trigger another half-dozen calamities? You can't be serious!
Have you forgotten how many died? There will be no one left.
Do you truly imagine we would aid you in your bloodletting?
It is unthinkable! Unconscionable!
And what is the alternative? To be as cattle waiting for slaughter? I would have us work together, that we might take fate into our own hands!
Into your hands, perhaps. But what of the other worlds, your radiance? With every calamity, you obliterate a star and every soul that dwells on it.
To the Ascians, we are all but tiny, momentary specks within an indifferent universe. We cannot hope to oppose them until we have been made whole once more.
Are these truly the words of Garlemald's ruler? The flaws and foibles which you so abhor are what make us who we are. Every nation, even yours, Emperor Varys, is made whole through the combination of these imperfections, the strengths of one compensating for the weaknesses of another. While it is true that man succumbs all too often to anger and avarice, he may yet overcome his baser instincts through the forming of bonds with others, fostering community and cooperation. That the protector of an empire should not only reject these fundamental truths, but seek to change them at so dear a cost to life is indefensible. Such a man is not fit to govern.
And you, warrior of light, would you refuse me as well?
It would seem the Alliance is of one mind on this matter.
You Eorzeans never cease to disappoint me. Though I suppose I have only myself to blame for expecting more from savages. This discussion is at an end. I bid you make ready for our next meeting. It will not be at the negotiating table.
I came back to find Doma's advanced party ready and waiting for battle. So, as worrying as our little chat with the Emperor was, it did buy us enough time for at least some of our allies to arrive.
I'm not sure what I was expecting from our meeting with the Emperor, but it wasn't that. Still, at least we know now what he's really after.
Aye, a future built on a mountain of bodies. I too want the Ascians dead, but not at any cost.
The last of the reinforcements from Dorma arrived not long ago. I pray it will be enough. Given the Emperor's stated goal, this is a battle we can ill afford to lose.
If the Gallians come in force, we may not have much say in the matter, even with our combined strength.
We knew from the first that the odds would be against us. But if there is even the slightest chance of victory, we must do everything in our power to seize it.
We must seize it, full stop.
Here!
The two of you are to join an irregular unit and support the main host. I won't bother asking if you're minded to fight.
After coming this far, how could I not? And for once, there's no one around to countermand me. Not that they would. Not even my brother. But we all know who really make the difference. Ready to frighten some Garleans?
I wouldn't want to be on their side.
Might I ask you to accompany the Dorman contingent? They are strangers here, and your presence would do much to raise their spirits.
We would be honored.
When our people stride out with you in their midst, I dare say the Eorzeans will feel an ilm taller themselves. High spirits have a way of spreading.
Ah, what I wouldn't give to join you. But my duties as field commander will not allow it. I'll leave the front lines in your capable hands. Comrades, ready your arms. The hour of battle has come. May the crystal guide us to victory!
Since the others couldn't be here, we'll have to fight twice as hard. If Alphinaud wakes to find the Imperials have won, I shall never hear the end of it. It's strange. I thought I would be terrified when the fighting started. I should be terrified. But with you at our side, I can't help feeling everything is going to be all right. So please, don't you dare leave me alone. No matter what happens, we have to survive together.
Has everybody already gone in the entrance?
We've exited the instance.
Oh, where's that at?
Over onto the side by the gate.
Oh, there it goes.
I think the Emperor might be a touch crazy.
They're all crazy.
Mostly I ran over to the vendors because I died a lot earlier, so I was making sure my gear wasn't about to break. Are we ready for dungeoneering?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
After an hour and a half of cutscenes, we can finally do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forward! Forward!
Hien? I thought we were supposed to be with the Dolmen Advanced Party. Is that just Yugiri?
Leave this to me.
We lose them?
They went to the south. Told us to keep going to the north.
Yeah.
Alright. Jarring Blow is his tank buster. It hits a wide arc in front of him, so don't stand in front of him. Cerulean Vent is moderate damage to the entire party. Magitech Ray is a stack marker on a single player. Exhaust is a line attack in the direction of a random player. Wildfire Beam is a targeted AoE at each player, spread to avoid overlapping damage. And Magitech Slash is the Colossus slams his sword down, dealing damage in a cone area, and leaving behind a fiery puddle that inflicts burns while standing in it. The Colossus will rotate and slam down repeatedly until it has covered the entire arena. The first puddle will dissipate as the Colossus turns to make the final stroke. So, we will need to, I guess, try to stay ahead of him and get into the first spot he hit before he does the last one.
So we step, when he hits the one, we'll go to the opposite side and just stay on that side.
That sounds wise, yes, and we'll see which direction he's going.
Yeah. Clockwise or counter, whatever.
Alright, this is the thing. And it says it's going counterclockwise. Going clockwise this time. And going counterclockwise this time. A bit hectic, but not too bad. So I guess we should kind of expect them to be pulling out all the stops on this one. This is kind of the final dungeon of the X-Pack.
Ready?
I shan't hold back!
Alright. Nitro Spin is moderate damage on the entire party. Prometheus always casts this ability first, surrounding the arena with fire. Unbreakable Sermet Drill is a tank buster. Needle Gun is a 90-degree cone directly in front of the boss. Oil Shower is a 270-degree cone directly behind the boss, hitting everywhere Needle Gun doesn't. After a few attacks, Prometheus will burrow underground, and a section of the wall surrounding the arena will glow red. After a delay, a fiery blast will launch from the red area to the opposite wall, dealing damage. The attack lingers, continuing to deal damage for a few seconds. The second time Prometheus used this attack, it will first cast Freezing Missile. Freezing Missile is 4 proximity AoEs that hit each cardinal direction. And I would assume they freeze you. But it doesn't say so. Basically, this sounds like a stay out of the stuff and don't stand in front of the red thing fight. But we shall see.
Okay.
Alright, look for red on the wall and get out of the way. Freezing Missile. Get in the middle. Run. And when you guys see him do his frontal cone, approach the cone, but don't enter it. It'll make it easier to dodge the other attack that follows. Yeah, that wasn't bad at all.
Oh.
I have determined whoever wrote this guide is a tank. Because moderate damage equals about half to 2/3 of y'all's health. Whereas it amounts for about 10% of mine. So...
You underestimate me.
I feel like the middle of a battlefield is probably not the ideal location for Kane El Sena.
No, I healed her. I can heal them though, so that's cool. Although once the fight's over with the group, they go to full health, so it's not
yeah.
It's still kind of cool.
This knight does not yield!
of my way!
Welcome back, Hien, Yukiri. Hien, you were a samurai. Samurai are not tanks.
As one!
I also note we haven't seen Alizé this entire fight.
I know we were supposed to be with her, like, keep her.
Maybe get in the bubble. I note they didn't even try to get out of that.
They also didn't lose much health.
And the NPCs have started running off and fighting other things.
Yeah.
Howdy, welcome to the stream.
This day you die!
Nice shot, Yugiri.
That was a badass ninja shot.
I was a little concerned there. You know, it said self-destruct and had 60% of its health left.
I know, it's like, holy crap. I was looking around for her bubble again.
These savages bested our vanguard? Impressive. But in the end, they are only that. Savages. Now let's be brief. His radiance awaits. Were these the two guards that were standing in the back of the room during the parley?
I don't remember the helmets.
They weren't wearing the colored helmets, but I think the helmets they were wearing were the same design. But that could just be the, you know, Imperial Honor Guard helmet. Alright, let's see. As the battle begins, whichever sister was attacked first will remain in the arena, while the other will support from the outside the arena, untargetable. Anya utilizes a fist weapon, while Julia uses a gunblade. So, I guess we pick which one we fight. Or maybe they switch at some point. Okay, let's see. They both have tank busters. Let's see. Artificial plasma is used by both sisters, deals moderate damage to the entire party. Commence airstrike is used by Julia. It's 8 ceruleum tanks will drop from the sky. 4 on the outer edge, 4 inside. Occasionally, Julia will use roundhouse to knock the tanks around, with the added effect of dealing damage to and knocking back players in melee range. Regardless of if she uses roundhouse or not, she will then follow up with Air's Bane, targeting a tank to detonate it, dealing damage in a large area around the tank and causing all the other tanks in the radius to also detonate. Order to Bombard is used by Anya, which is 3 large AoEs will cover the arena, leaving small safe spots at the edge of the arena. While Julia and Anya perform Crossbones and Angry Salamander. Crossbones is used by Julia, carving 4 X's into the air that travel across the arena to deal damage. While when used as part of the order to bombard, each X unerringly targets a player and inflicts knockback when it's hit. So, they're going to target you with it when we're hiding in the little safe spots. Air's Bane, used by Julia, marks a random player with a crosshair, then deals moderate damage to the target a short time later. No way to avoid it, it sounds like. The Angry Salamander, used by Anya, is a line attack in the direction of a random player. Stunning Sweep, used by Anya. She jumps to a random player, then begins casting, deals damage to players in melee range. The Order, used by Julia. Julia moves to the center of the arena and surrounds herself with 4 Crossbones projectiles. Ground AoEs will appear beneath each player, while Crossbones launch in the cross pattern. After the first sister is defeated, the 2 will perform Crosshatch, launching a Crossbones projectile back and forth across the arena. Their path denoted by very narrow lines appearing. After this attack, the 2 will tag out and fight will continue. When the other sister is defeated, they will perform Crosshatch again, and with the addition of Covering Fire, an AoE targeting each player that requires the party to spread out to avoid overlap. Once the second cast of Crosshatch is complete, the 2 will regain 20% of their hit points and begin casting Imperial Authority at the center of the arena. The attack will wipe the party if either is allowed to finish casting, so we'll have to kill them both. Alright. Which would y'all like to kill first? Red or blue?
Blue.
Apparently, it does not matter.
Or maybe not, yeah.
Order to Bombard is being cast.
Will we get targeted what again?
You just get shot and take some damage.
Oh.
Alright, here comes their little group attack.
I thought I was safe.
Apparently not.
No.
That was kind of weird.
I was in between the lines and I still got hit pretty hard. Are we supposed to defeat those?
No. I did a very bad job of dodging that. If you have DPS cooldowns, try to save them here. We're gonna need them in just a minute. Alright, here comes another crosshatch. Alright, nuke them. Well done. We have served our purpose. Come, we shall withdraw for now.
Is he gonna use the poison now?
Probably.
We're needing on the orchestra roll, right?
Yes.
There you are, and none the worse for wear.
Indeed. I had hoped we might do more to help, but there seems to be no one left to fight.
A tactical withdrawal, perhaps?
We should give chase. Finish them off while we have the chance. Imagine the other surprise when they wake to find the war already won.
The light will expunge all life. Only you can forestall the calamity. Throw wide the gates.
No! 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 Not like...
Oh no. Don't tell me. Are you all right? Quickly! We must get her back to the encampment.
So the Garleans have been routed, have they? Well done. This exchange was no more than a test of our strength. Like as not, they won't be taking any chances now that the Emperor has joined the fray. They'll want to take their time, whittle down our defenses. Still, with your help, and that of our eastern allies, we've passed the first test. Our line is unbroken. As for Alize, well, she's in good hands over at the infirmary. My lord, the surgeons have completed their examination of Mistress Alize, and it is as we feared. She is locked in a slumber without any outward cause. Just like the others. Damn it all. Aye, the Garleans picked a fine time to come knocking. 5 scions incapacitated, and with the enemy on our doorstep, I cannot spare the men to assist the search for a cure. The best I can do is to see that Alize is escorted safely back to the Rising Stones. Ugiri and I would return to our encampment. The main contingent of our forces from the east is under sail, and all must be made ready for their arrival. I'll not keep you then. Yes, gotta make ready for those soldiers that are gonna arrive in a couple of months or so.
Yeah.
Judging by the Garleans' recent movements, or lack thereof, they won't be launching another offensive in the immediate future. You should return to the Rising Stones. Given the plight of your fellow scions, I can understand if you feel on edge. But you'll be no good to anyone without rest. I know we also haven't seen Alvanar in a while.
Who's that one?
Oh, he's the other guy that has the echo, right?
The echo that have fight the snake one?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I thought he was here.
We've been seeing Hoary Boulder. We haven't been seeing him.
Oh. Speak of the devil. Well, Hoary Boulder, that is.
Yep. Welcome home. Word has it that you and Mistress Alize gave the Garleans quite a thrashing. Speaking of whom, where is Mistress Alize? I was certain she would have returned by now. By the 12, not her too. Ochre and I will ready the infirmary for her arrival. We'll also need to send a message to Tartaru post-haste. Would that I had something other than grim tidings to share with her. And with you too, for that matter. It grieves me to report that the Archon's condition remains unchanged. And as we speak, Coltonet, Kryl, and Master Matoria continue to explore every possible avenue. Alas, their efforts have yet to bear fruit. But all is not lost. You are still hale and whole, after all. Though I suspect you must be tired from your journey. You should rest, my friend. Leave the worrying to us, for the time being at least. Meanwhile, at the border of Alamigo. Ah, yours is a welcome face indeed in these troubled times. Though if you've come to inquire about our stricken brothers and sisters, I am afraid I have naught to report. Coltonet and the others continue their tireless search for answers, and I too have done all in my power to assist them. Alas. My apologies for the intrusion. I was told Master Alphanode had been brought here, and wished to see if his condition had improved. See, Maxima has finally traded in his ugly Garlean armor. I've heard about the part you played in driving back the Empire's forces. Thank you. That you were able to stop them, if only for a short while, gives me hope. I realize how strange such words must be coming from a Garlean's lips, but I speak to them out of love I bear for my homeland, because I wish to see an end to the bloodshed. That is why I chose to share all I know with the Alliance. Though I will surely be branded a traitor, I am content to bear the ignominy. 'Twill seem a small price to pay if it helps to prevent this conflict from escalating any further. But enough of my prattling. The war is not what brought me all this way. I came to see Master Alphanode. An acquaintance, you are? Well, far be it from me to turn away good company. If you'll follow me, sir. When word reached me that Alphanode had returned, it seemed only right that I visit him. Poor lad. It pains me to see him thus. But I take solace in the knowledge that he is safe and well cared for. He fought valiantly at the burn. The Populares could not have wished for a more committed ally. I know not how he came to be so afflicted, but I pray a cure will be found soon. On an unrelated note, you may be interested to know that I traveled here in the company of another acquaintance of yours. He awaits my return at North Silvertier, and I am certain he would be glad to see you, assuming you can spare the time, that is. Alright, before we head off to see this old acquaintance of ours that was not given a name, who is it? My money's on Sid.
It might be Sid or, who's that dude that we let lock himself back up in that one tower of the Aligan?
The cat guy?
Cat guy, yeah. With the one eye colored.
Okay. That's a... Well, judging by the location the quest is sending us, that's a definite possibility.
That's why I said it. I looked at the map on where we're going. Or it could be anybody of that group that we formed.
Yeah.
There, yeah. Because I thought Sid was looking in the deep hole after the one, beast.
Well, he's looking in the deep hole there because we've been supposed to be doing a raid quest line over there to do stuff, but since we're not doing that stuff, he's just sort of waiting.
Do you think the voice that keeps talking sounds familiar? I've been trying to place it.
It does not sound familiar to me, no. And good lord, I seemed slow just now. Ah, there you are. I was beginning to think you would not come.
Oh, yeah, Sid.
Sounds like you've been through the mill. You should have called me. Though I must confess, tracking down missing souls isn't exactly within my field of expertise. As you may have surmised, I heard much of Master Garland growing up in Garlemald. Indeed, he has long been a source of inspiration for me. Most Garleans would say he is a traitor, that he turned his back on his country. We of the Populares, however, consider him a revolutionary, a man willing to defy the Empire's dreams of subjugation, that his inventions might bring about a better future for all mankind. Please, revolutionary is a term best reserved for my work. I am but an Imperial defector who thought to aid another Imperial defector. Whatever Master Garland says, I am humbled to find myself in such distinguished company. Speaking of distinguished company, we have heard from Raban that you ran into an old friend in the burn. Is it true? Gaius still lives? Like most in the army, I never had the privilege of seeing the legatus without his mask. To think, I walked halfway across the burn in the presence of the Black Wolf. And he claimed to have severed ties with the Empire to hunt Ascians, did he? After his humbling at the Praetorium, one would think he'd have had the good sense to stay dead. Should we meet again, I shall be sure to tell him so. Commander Alden also spoke of the Alliance's meeting with the Emperor, though I still labor to believe what he told us. Did his Radiance really claim that Garlemald was founded by the Ascians? But that is madness. The very notion is absurd. Every fiber of my being rails against it. And yet I see there is no escaping the truth. From the very founding of my homeland, my brothers and sisters have laid down their lives in service of a lie. The Ascians must be stopped. To save my people. To save all peoples. For all the Empire's many crimes, even I did not suspect. Had I known, I would have left a lot sooner. But that is in the past. Here in the present, we must apply ourselves to the problem of how the Empire's ambitions may be thwarted, not only in Eorzea, but in the Far East as well. The Ironworks will spare no effort to achieve that end. Seru's wall was a good start, but we can do more. And we will. We'll show them what it means to achieve freedom through technology. Begging your pardons, I bear a message for the Warrior of Light. Commander Alden requests your presence at Alliance headquarters in Alamigo. He would discuss matters of strategy at your earliest convenience. Ah yes, the inevitable messenger. I knew it wouldn't be long before duty called you away. Time no doubt being of the essence, could I tempt you to a ride aboard the Excelsior? It's that if there's a faster way to Raban's side, I will personally apologize to the commander for keeping him waiting. Well, I could push a button and be there, but okay, Sid.
Right.
I have the same boots as Maxima.
Just 1 minute, my dogs are going nuts.
Oh, you guys are matching. Aww. He is kind of cute, you know, you should date.
What was that?
What, KJ?
All I knew is that you was talking.
That's okay. It's fine.
Is your mic not close? Is that it?
No, it's like close to me. I think you, like I said, I think you mute me. So.
You're not muted. How cute they are the same. Maxima is kind of femmy. She's got that cute ponytail. Sideburns, little side. Yep, that's it.
Titan's almost as tall as you.
I know, isn't it cool? Where'd he go? There he is.
I kind of turn my legs. Jeez.
You know who else we haven't seen recently? Nero.
That's the guy that was in the place I was thinking was Nero.
Oh, you were
no, not Nero. Nero's Sid's other ex-enemy, huh?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, she doesn't go up on my shoulder. That's sad.
Gruda does, but not Shiva.
Yeah.
No, Shiva, all she does is stares.
She just stares.
She's the stare.
Care Bear stare.
No, not even that. Just spooky stare.
Ooh, I'll be right back.
Alright, I'm back. So that there was somebody over at my neighbor's house.
Emo at AFK.
Alright. And the reason that I was betting it was Sid is because Sid always shows up toward the end of an X pack. So.
That makes sense.
I'm here.
Welcome back. One thing I have noticed when standing here is Emo and Zora's standing animations have a lot more fidget to them than mine does. Because I just stand here and breathe. But,
well, you only have one stance selected. We have ours rotate through the different stances.
Ah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, I didn't even know that was possible.
Yep.
Okay, that would explain it. Why sometimes Emo stands there and shakes off her shoes 5 or 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
I swear, every time you board my airship, you seem to be barreling headlong into danger. And every time you somehow contrive to emerge victorious. Which, of course, is an admirable skill. But no one is invincible. Not even you. So please, take care of yourself out there. I pray you remain safe on the front lines. Though ill-equipped to join the fray, I shall do all I can to assist from headquarters. My colleagues and I have been tasked with evacuating casualties by air. See that you aren't among them, eh? I think I'll be fine as long as a magic voice from somewhere doesn't rip my soul out.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's an actual good thing.
We have question marks. Commander Aldin is waiting, sir. It would be best if we proceeded to Alliance headquarters at once. Are you ready?
Oh, I didn't need to go inside. Oh, yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Feels like we need to
Party
disband, though, yeah. Good luck. You're here. Good. I summoned you to discuss strategy, but first I would apprise you of the Garlean's movements. Upon speaking with Raban, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to view these scenes in their entirety. This is the final quest, by the way.
There have been several skirmishes along the border, but as yet neither side has delivered a decisive blow. We had long assumed that the Garleans would overwhelm us in a straight fight, but we seem to be gaining ground, albeit slowly. As to why that might be, the most likely explanation is that they have yet to commit all their forces. Still, we're winning, and our latest intelligence suggests the Emperor has retreated back to Garlemald. In light of this, we're considering launching an offensive with the aim of pushing the front line forward and giving ourselves some room to breathe.
Commander! The Imperials! They've broken through our defenses to the east.
What?
Our scouts say their forces are being led by Lord Xenos. Lord Hian and Commander Hext have taken their troops to provide support, but we don't know how long they can hold out.
So, they've been biding their time, waiting for his arrival, have they? Very well. Send word to our allies, requesting reinforcements for the front line. Should the worst come to the worst, I may need to enter the fray myself. But what of you? Do you still have the strength to fight? He may not die as such, but to see Lord Xenos fall on the battlefield would deal a heavy blow to Imperial morale. I'll see to it the men stay clear.
Why won't they open? Please, I bid you open.
What's wrong? Is it the voice again? Are you sure you're in a fit state to do this? May Ralga grant us strength. Give 'em hell, lad. I, for my part, will defend this place to my dying breath.
one's for you, Ida. Here it comes!
The weave of a shinobi's power. The art of my forebears.
Magic. Still, he must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Ah, bringer of light. It has been too long. No words to mark our reunion? So be it. Equilibrium must be restored, and only your death will redress the balance.
Well, he killed me.
Bastard.
Yeah, he killed me too.
Yeah.
Was it the gathering aether from the swords?
I got the swords down, but then he did some big weird red thing, and that's what got me.
Well, I got 2 of the swords down, and then the third, while I was fighting the third, the aether reached 100 and he killed me. With a big red thing.
Ready?
This one's for you, Ida.
Yeah, I got all 3 swords down, but it still went off. Like, something still happened weird. It started rolling through the ground and shit. This is kind of bullcrap if we have to fight back through the other people, which we already know that he's going to kill or hurt anybody. Oh, you can skip that sequence also. Nope, I lied, you can't.
Here it comes.
The weave of a shinobi's power. The art of my forebears.
Alright, I survived the sword that time.
I see. Your mother chose her champion well. Yet, for all your strength, you will still fail.
Please, I beseech you.
Ah, someone calls to you. Too late, alas.
At last, I found you. Please, there's no cause for alarm. Though, I confess, this is not where I had intended to meet. But the place of our meeting is of no consequence, like the war you wage. Win or lose, the path you walk leads only to oblivion. The better path leads you here, to me. I have need of your strength. The battle is over, the danger past, but your work is not yet done. Go to the Crystal Tower. I have left something for you near its base. It will serve as a beacon of sorts, one which I pray will help you on your journey. All you need do is find it. I will take care of the rest. Soon, we will throw wide the gates, and the path to the first will be yours to walk at last.
You're awake. Thank heavens. I see you recall that much, at least. In the midst of your duel, it is said you faltered, and that the Crown Prince seized the opportunity to deliver a mortal blow. Yet before his blade could find its mark, he was distracted by the arrival of a second adversary who bore you away from the battlefield and into the hands of our chirurgeons. Lest you wonder, he left before you awoke. As is his wont. Estinian never was one for emotional farewells. Though Xenos bested all before him, the battle clearly took its toll, for he retreated shortly after your rescue. Seeing this, the remaining Imperial forces decided discretion was the better part of valor and pulled back, allowing us to re-establish our position. We have since received word of renewed unrest in the provinces, doubtless inspired by the efforts of the Eorzean Alliance and our Far Eastern allies. Nor does the good news end there. We have also come into possession of intelligence suggesting unrest within the Imperial court. This would certainly explain why both the Emperor and Lord Xenos appear to have abandoned the fight. A long-awaited ray of hope in these dark times. yet to awake, I'm afraid. But please, concentrate on your own recovery for now. You have carried the hopes of some half-dozen nations, and we are all eternally grateful for your efforts. But no one is without their limits, not even you. Leave this fight to us, my friend. You have earned your rest. But before I forget, I was asked to deliver a message as soon as you awoke. A reminder that you are not alone, though many of your allies have fallen. When you are well and rested, you are to return home, where friends will be waiting for you. Now, if you will excuse me, I must return to the front. May we meet again soon, under happier circumstances.
Well, this is a most unexpected surprise. I thought you confined to bed. When I heard that you had collapsed on the field of battle, I confess I feared the worst. But with you standing here before me, I see now that the reports of your defeat were greatly exaggerated, thanks to the Fury. As long as we have you, history suggests we have a fighting chance. Speaking of fighting, you may be surprised to hear that the war's effects can already be felt even here in Ishgard. In anticipation of need for reinforcements, Artoriel will soon be departing for the front lines, with a contingent of our finest knights. I would advise you to stay until your strength is returned, but I know it would be an exercise in futility. Indeed, I suspect you have already decided on your next destination. Dark days lie ahead, of that I have no doubt. But the light of hope shall ever guide our steps so long as we have the will to press forward. And press onward we must. Farewell, my friend. I pray our next meeting will be under happier circumstances. KJ.
A little late there.
I was waiting for you to come out of the cutscene. You teleported as soon as you came out.
I came out, so you guys standing all orange to me, and so I was like, "Oh, we're here. All right, where you guys at again?"
It doesn't matter. We will go where we need to go.
Oh, you're at the Foundation. That's my home thing. I can come back in a second.
I'm already teleporting.
Just stay.
And yes, it is just like Estinian to show up at the last moment and then disappear.
That's been his MO for a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm okay with that. I'd rather him be on our side, actually help him fight.
Yeah. Tartaru came back and changed back into her old clothes.
When in Rome, I guess.
Indeed.
By the 12! I don't believe it!
Gotta be comfy.
I rushed back as soon as I could. I swear, my heart nearly stopped when I heard you'd collapse like the others. What in heaven's name is going on? Win or lose, the path you walk leads only to oblivion. Oh, well, that's helpful. And what else did he say? The better path leads to him? If his is the voice you've all been hearing, perhaps the others are with him. Sir Emmerich said the fighting had reached a stalemate, didn't he? But if that monster masquerading as Xenos comes back... Thancred, Yestola, Urianger, Alphino, Alize. You're going to need all of them on your side to defeat him. And I forbid you from going to face him on your own. Do you hear me? So if you must leave, go and find the others. Bring them home. As for where to start, you said the stranger had left a beacon for you at the Crystal Tower, right? But how are you to find it, now that the tower has been sealed shut? There has to be a way. If anyone would know, it's Sid and the researchers of St. Coinac's find. Don't you worry, we'll find that beacon for you.
I pray you have good reason for abandoning the front.
How could I remain there while the rumor that my son is possessed by a demon spreads like a sickness here at home? I will not be made to fight for the throne a second time. But what of you?
Did you not tell me you would destroy Eorzea's champion with the ease that one might swat a fly?
A minor setback. He will not escape me again. Where is your grandsire? I would have words with him.
How should I know? Do you hide from each other's sight as well? I imagine he's doing what all Ascians do.
He must have found a way to take advantage of this turmoil.
Men are not pawns to be played with, Ascian. You underestimate us at your peril.
This war will not be decided by you and yours. Man must choose his own fate, and I, for my part, will do all within my power to see Garlemald emerge victorious.
Pray forgive the intrusion, Your Radiance, but the requested preparations are now complete. We stand ready to begin production of Black Rose upon your order.
Unexpected credits are unexpected.
Yeah.
I knew you'd be alright, and to celebrate your return, I made you this, a brand new traveling outfit. Oh, I do hope it fits. But now is not the time to fuss over your measurements. I must go and speak with the researchers at St. Connect's Find, and go and rest while we track down that beacon.
My enemy. My friend. Had I been but a step faster.
Bloody savages!
A pity your hunt leads you elsewhere. Not that I am surprised. May you find joy in it. Grow stronger, more savage, and savor every triumph. In the meantime, I will reclaim that which is rightfully mine.
In the midst of a requiem for heroes, a voice rings out across time and space. In fields of tranquil light, sow you seeds of darkness. Good news. We've had a stroke of luck in our search for that beacon. Apparently our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. A path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down there, checking under rocks and peering in every nook and cranny. Still, it sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover. My thoughts exactly. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is the mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again, meaning we have no time to lose. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way.
I don't know, wasn't it Shadow's stuff that we're heading to?
Well, yes, Tartaru obviously knows the name of the X-Pack that we're now in, but...
I do think that's Xenos. I know we kind of talked about it, but I think it really is him.
Oh, I agree. I mean, they supercharged him with artificial echo. I'm pretty sure he's just moved his soul into another body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he does the, my enemy, my friend, and even the guy walks, like, they have the same walk going on.
Mm-hmm. Even though he's not wearing the gigantically stupid suit of armor that Xenos wears.
I know. And his dad does, too. So dumb looking.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe I am going to call it here, but I'm not ending stream quite yet because I have a cinematic to watch. But I believe all three of you have already seen the Shadowbringers cinematic. I have not.
Right.
So.
I now that you mention that, and we've seen the dude, I know why I recognize the voice, because his voice is in the cinematic.
Gotcha. But I am going to return to Ul'dah and go to my inn room, because I'm certain the queue on the other side will be obscene.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that it's not, but because it is fairly late. But I'm not going to ask you guys to log off and watch the cinematic, since that will put you guys in the queue too.
I'm probably going to log off and go to bed. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Might kill some Diablo guys, I don't know.
Alright, cinematic time.
How many years have come and gone since that day? How many years have I waited for this moment? For the one that stood alone against the storm. For the one they called. The warrior of light.
for our troubles.
Until our friend returns, I will hold the line.
This town certainly has changed, but not at all for the better.
I'm not going anywhere. I promise you, Ophelia. This tragedy, greater even than the seventh umbral calamity, must be undone. If history must be unwritten, let it be unwritten. Become what you must. Become the warrior of darkness.
I have many more questions now. Although I think KJ's guess about the cat guy in the Crystal Tower was actually a good one. Because I'm pretty sure he was in that cinematic.
Yeah, yeah. Because the thing is like he acts like he didn't, that we haven't met before, but I don't know because I remember we left him in that tower,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know whether it's just like a different version of him or whatever that makes it so it's, or they just didn't want to give anything away. But I mean, like
Yeah.
he looks like the cat guy without seeing his face.
Yep. Yes, he does. Because they've been careful not to show a tail or anything like that. And he's definitely got something going on since one of his arms was like turning into crystal. Also, we had Urianger without his hood up, and Ishtola, and Thancred, and a child that Thancred called Minfilia.
Yep.
Didn't see Alizé or Alphanode anywhere. And I did find it interesting that the Warrior of Light actually transformed through all of his different canonical jobs.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
into his new canonical job for Shadowbringers, which is the Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, interesting. And just out of curiosity, how bad is the queue? There isn't one.
Nice.
Players in queue 37.
Wow.
Nice.
I guess everybody else has had the sense to go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stay in the queue, though, because I think it is time to go to bed as well.
Well, we will talk to you soon. Have a happy new year.
Yeah.
Indeed. Have a happy new year. All right, guys. We're going to call it here for the night, and I will be back tomorrow, and we will be finishing Final Fantasy VI. So, until then, I want to thank y'all for joining me. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll see y'all next time. Have a good night.